Over the last couple of weeks, we've been doing a series on stewardship. So we've looked at stewardship of time, salvation, stewardship of the family, and today, hold your purses tightly, we'll be looking at stewardship of money. Yeah, so today we'll be looking at the stewardship of money, and more specifically, we will be looking at 3 things about money that will change your life. Yeah, so 3 things about money that will change your life. Now, the reason I can boldly say is 3 things about money that will change your life is because these 3 things are simply true. So they will change your life not based on my ability to communicate it. They will change your life in the same way if you go to someone's house and you say, what's the Wi-Fi password, right? If they give you the correct Wi-Fi password, you will have access to the internet, right? It doesn't matter how loud they say it. It doesn't matter how bold or courageously they say it or how quietly they say it. The Wi-Fi password will give you connection to the internet. And these 3 things about money, if you know them, if you take them to heart, if you practice them, will change your life. I guarantee it. Yeah? I guarantee it. Say it. He guarantees it. Guarantees it. So if you put it into practice and it doesn't change your life, you have the right to come and confront me and say, brother, you said these 3 things will change my life. I believed it. I applied it, and my life has not changed. Right? So that's the covenant I'm making with you, that these 3 things I'm about to share regarding money will indeed change your life. Now, as Alita beautifully read in Luke chapter 19, verse 11 to 24, is the parable of the gold coins, which Jesus tells his disciples. Now, as you've heard, the man goes away. Now, before he goes away, he gathers his servants, and he gives them each a gold coin and says, see how much you can earn of this while I'm away. Right? Now, when he returns, after being made king, he brings them together to find out what they had done with the gold coin. And the first one came and said, look, you gave me 1 gold coin, I've earned 10. And he says, well done, you're a good servant. You are now going to be put in charge of 10 cities. The second servant stepped forward and said, you gave me 1 gold coin, I have earned 5. Well done, good and faithful servant. You will now be in charge of 5 cities. Then the third one came, said, you gave me 1 gold coin, here is 1 gold coin. Because while you were away, I hid it. Now, why did I hide the gold coin you gave me and told me to earn with it? Because I knew that you are a hard man. You take what isn't yours. You reap what you haven't sowed. So, my bro, no wahala, here's your gold coin. And the king says, you're a bad servant. Because the least you could have done was put it in the bank, put it against some interest. Then he says, take away his gold coin and give it to the one who has 10. Give it to the one who has 10. And that leads us into the first thing about money that will change your life. So the first thing about money that will change your life is it belongs to God. It belongs to God. Now, looking closely at this parable, it's clear that the man in the parable is Jesus. The servants are his followers, you and I. Now, it's easy to believe that the money that you have in your bank account, the money that you have in your possession is your property. But Deuteronomy 8:18 says, it is God who gives us the power to make wealth. The money that you have in your bank account or hidden under your bed, in your pocket, in your purse, belongs to the Lord. You have been entrusted to it. Yeah? Now, some of you here, now we all have places where we live, right? Some of you rent and some of you are homeowners. And some of you who are homeowners used to rent. Now, if you rent, you know you can't just wake up one morning and decide, I'm going to knock down this wall and make an extension. You live in that house. You have your children's pictures on the wall. But you can't just wake up and say, I'm knocking down this wall, or I'm going to paint it pink. You need permission from the landlord. Because even though you live in that house, it does not belong to you. Now, this is life-changing because once you become aware that the money you have belongs to the Lord, and he has entrusted you to shepherd it, to look after it, and to give account. So one day, you will have to explain to the Lord how you use the money he gave you. Once you know that, it will change how you use your money. When how you use your money changes, so does your life. Now, the interesting thing about the servant who brought back just a coin, he just brought back a coin, right? Now, he said his master was a hard man, which clearly isn't true. That his master reaps what he hasn't sowed, which wasn't true. But it does teach us that if we have a negative or a faulty misunderstanding of God, it will impact how we interpret what he tells us. Because the master said to him, see what you can earn with this while I'm away. Not, don't lose it. But he had a negative view of his master. Because if I think someone is a hard man who takes what isn't his, beloved, I don't want to know what hell with this man's money. Let me just put it here. When you come, take your money, problem solved. If you have a negative view of God and you see God as someone who is hard and fault-finding and is looking to punish you at the slightest error, when you hear that your money belongs to God and one day you have to explain yourself, that's going to fill your heart with fear. That's going to make you overly cautious about how you spend your money. You're going to spend your money fearfully. You're going to engage with money in a fearful manner. But when you know the truth that God is a generous Father who has your best interest at heart, and you know that he has entrusted you with money to give account when he returns, when you know that truth, you will not engage with your money fearfully, but you will engage with it with responsibility, with discernment, and you will engage with it courageously. Because the master said, see what you can earn with it. Now, the master didn't say, you have to use it in this specific way. And that's how you shepherd the finances that God has entrusted to you might look different from how I shepherd it. And it might look different from how she shepherds it. But we will all have to give account. And so when you know that, when you are aware of that, and you know that the person that entrusted you has your best interest at heart, wants you to succeed, loves and cares for you, you're not going to be fearful when you know that you have to give account. You're going to know that you need to be responsible with your money. You're going to know that you can't use your money in ways that dishonors the person that entrusted it to you. But the person that entrusted it to you wants you to succeed. So you can use your money with discernment, responsibly, joyously, courageously, and generously. So that's the first thing about money that will change your life. Understanding that it belongs to God. Which leads us nicely into the second thing about money that will change your life. Remember, I said 3 things about money will change your life. Now, in 1 Timothy 6:17, Paul tells Timothy to warn those who are rich in this age. He says to warn them not to be arrogant and not to put their hope in money, which is so uncertain, but to put their hope in God. You see, the second thing to understand about money is that it cannot be trusted. Money cannot be trusted. Money is not for you. Money is not against you. Money is not your friend. Money is not your enemy. Money is just money. Money is loyal to no one. Right now, if somebody broke into your house and started taking the money that's there, the money wouldn't say, no, leave me, I belong here. The money would be taken. If somebody decided to transfer some money to your account, the money wouldn't arrive in the account and say, this doesn't feel like home. It would just arrive and stay there. Money is nobody's friend. It's just money. And it cannot be trusted. Money is very useful. So this is not, oh, money is bad. This is looking at money for what it is. It's money. It's useful. Money can provide a certain level of security, and money can expand your choices. But the danger is overestimating the level of security that money provides, and thinking that the more money you have, the more secure you will ultimately be. But there are some deep areas in your life, the most important areas in your life, which money can do nothing about. The deepest areas in your life, money cannot touch. But money is useful. And it's good to understand that money is useful. But it can never be a source of hope. It cannot be. And he says, now, why are the rich more likely to put their hope in money? Because money changes your life in certain ways. It just does. You can live in a bigger house. You can give your kids a better education. And those are all good things. But if you allow that to cause you to overestimate the power and influence of money, and in overestimating that, you start to look more to money than to God, you are in trouble. You are on a slippery slope because money cannot be trusted. And ultimately, there are things that God can do that money cannot. But there is nothing that money can do that God cannot. So why would you put your hope in money rather than God? Because in the deepest issues of your life, the family relations, the things that are really close to your heart, God can touch all those areas in ways that money just cannot. So it's understanding. Money is useful. If you can get it, get it. Use it well. But do not put your hope in it. Don't. Even, let's say right now, you are in possession of £10,000. Right now, yeah? Next year, inflation goes up, the value of your money has gone down because things cost more. So what your money could buy is now weakened by the price of things that's going up. Something that simple. All it takes is one credit card scam for all the money in your bank account to be gone. Money is useful, but it cannot be trusted. And once you take that to heart, and you view money for what it is, that is something useful, but not a source of hope, and you wholeheartedly put your hope in God, that will change your life. That will change your life. And how do you know if you're putting your hope in money? Because I don't think anybody decides, Lord, step back, money, let's go. How do you know? Because it happens slowly, doesn't it? Because you ask yourself, like right now, at this season in your life, like what makes you feel secure? Do you know what I mean? Like what makes you feel like, yeah, I'm going to be okay? Like I can face the future courageously. I know for me, sometimes when I think, the more money I have, the more secure I feel. Because the more money I have, in my mind, I think, there is no scenario that I can imagine that I can't deal with. But the thing about life is, life hits you in ways you cannot imagine. And when life hits you in ways you cannot imagine, the only person you can rely on is God. So the first thing about money that will change your life is that it belongs to God. And the second thing is that money cannot be trusted. You need to put your hope in God and never money. Money is useful, but it should never be your source of hope. Now, the third thing about money is, so, in 2 Corinthians 9, 6-8, Paul tells the Corinthians that how much you reap is directly connected to how much you sow. Yeah, how much you reap is connected to how much you sow. Then he says to them, so understanding that you will reap what you sow, understanding that, give what you determined in your heart. Yeah? Not what I'm pressuring you to do, not what guilt is compelling you to do, but understanding that what you sow is what you reap. With that knowledge in mind, give what you have determined in your heart. And that's the final thing. Money is a seed. You have to understand that money is a seed. It's like two farmers stand before their field, and their hands are full of seed, right? Now, if they want an abundant harvest, what should they do with that seed? Release it. Sow it. And the more they release it, the more they will get back at harvest time. Money is seed. Yeah? It belongs to God. It cannot be trusted. It is seed. With regards to money, you reap what you sow. And sowing is to give. So when you release money, you reap more. Yeah? You reap what you sow. And that's why Paul can say to them, Paul wanted them to understand this principle. And with this principle in mind, then he says, what you sow, what you give, is up to you. It's really up to you. It's as you have determined in your heart. Because it's not really up to anyone to try to manipulate you, to manipulate your money out of your hands, to try to pressure you into giving. Is knowing the principle, determining in your own heart what you will give. And it says, the Lord loves a cheerful giver. Honestly, like, imagine it was your birthday, it was Christmas, and someone brought a gift like, there you go. Like, you want that gift? Like, you want them to be happy, like, yeah, I've been saving, like, I couldn't, here you go. Like, you don't want to receive a gift from someone who doesn't want to give you a gift. Why would God? God wants you to give generously. Yeah? And I'll tell you this. God would rather that someone cheerfully and generously gives £100 than someone begrudgingly gives £1 million. Now, the pastor would prefer the £1 million because you know what I mean. But God wants your giving to come from a cheerful heart. Not from a fearful heart. Not from a guilty heart. From a cheerful heart. As you have determined in your heart. Knowing that your reaping is directly connected to your sowing, the choice is really yours. The choice is really yours. And you must take that to heart. That God wants you to give what you're giving cheerfully. And it is better that you give God £50 cheerfully than £1,000 begrudgingly. Because money is seed, and what you give determines what you reap. And it's really interesting. So in Proverbs, it's a wicked proverb, right? It says, one person gives freely, yet gains even more. Another withholds unduly, but comes to poverty. Thinking, wait, what's that about? What kind of mathematical equation is that? You know what I mean? How you're generous, Toby, you're giving away bare, and you're getting more. I'm just here, saving my money. I'm not giving a penny to nobody. I'm coming to poverty. What's the equation? That only makes sense because money is seed. The farmer who clutches his seed close to his chest and doesn't release it, is not going to end up with the farmer that is sowing his seed generously. Would they? Why would he? If you don't sow it, it can't grow, and you can't reap a harvest. One person is giving generously and is getting more. Another is withholding unduly and is getting less. Because money is seed. And those are the three things about money that will change your life. Yeah? One, it belongs to God. We are stewards of the money. It might be in our bank account, it might be in our purse or our pocket, but it belongs to God. And he has entrusted us with it. And one day we will give account. But because God is a loving Father who has our best interests at heart, we don't need to be fearful. We can engage with our money with discernment, responsibly, courageously, and generously. And it cannot be trusted because money is a friend of no one. It's just money. So we know money is useful and we use it for what it is, but our hope is never in money. our hope is always in God. Because there are things God can do that money cannot. But there is nothing money can do that God cannot. And finally, it is seed. When you sow it, you reap a harvest. The more you sow, the more you reap. And knowing that, you have to give what you have determined in your heart.